Welcome back, guys. It's been a minute. Sorry about that hiatus. There's a lot been going on in life, but I just wanted to get this video out real quick as the video entails. It's a quick flip of a GSXR-600 I picked up. The guy I got the bike from, man, wasn't sure what was going on with it. He was having issues with it. Turns out it was only a stator that needed to be replaced. So since I had the bike, I decided to do a little custom work to it, you know, flip it, make a couple of dollars on it. Thought about keeping it for a little while, but I'll tell you more about that later on. So when I first get a bike and I decide I want to flip it, one of the things that I do off the rip is powder coat a lot of the parts. So these are the parts that I removed from the bike so I could get powder coated. Not everything was powder coated. Some of the stuff I ended up having to paint, like that adjustable kickstand. The reason being, the powder coater was afraid that the powder coat would be too thick and it would not adjust correctly and it would just chip it, and I agreed. Here, these levers, I get these powder coated sometimes, but sometimes I'll use this chemical. I can't really remember the name of it. If I do, I'll post the link for it in the comment section. But it's basically a chemical stripper. It's acid. Like, this is some bad stuff. I had a dog that accidentally got this stuff spilled on her before, man, and it was just horrible. It was horrible to deal with. It was horrible to look at. I felt like incredibly guilty after it happened because we were playing around in the garage and I had the stuff sitting by the door and she was running through the door and accidentally slid. Stuff splashed up on her back, and man, it was just absolutely horrible. But basically, after the stuff gets stripped, the coating gets stripped off, I use water to deactivate the acid. Water obviously is a base, so once it does its thing, just take it out. Make sure you're wearing something to protect your skin. Spray it off with some cold water, and then drop it in that cup that also has water in it. And after that, I just dry it off with a towel. Call it a day. You know, sometimes I might wash it with soap and water, and that's about it. So if you guys have seen any of my previous videos, especially with the one with the Rumblebee bike, the 2012 Yamaha R1, you know that I use spray paint, rattle can paint for a lot of my projects, and a lot of people have their own opinions about that, but if you know what you're doing, you can make this stuff work. Doing it on levers might not be the greatest idea because over time, the levers get so much touch and wear that eventually it is going to kind of wear off. So that's why I normally powder coat the levers, but I was trying a little something different on this one, just to, you know, like I said, make this a quick little flip. So this is the result of that kickstand, some of the bolts that I decided to paint while I had it apart, and this is the tank before I did anything to it. It was just solid black. Figured I'd throw a little bit of white in there. If you guys haven't realized, red is a favorite color of mine, so I always try to incorporate a little red. I just primered the tank here. Before I got to this white, I primered it gray. Gray basically neutralizes that black to make it easier to cover. Instead of having to put layer upon layer of white paint, you just, you know, primer it gray, and then from the gray you build it up with the white. So this is after I did the clear coat. I add some white pearl to it, and yeah, so this thing was painted outside, and I gotta let you guys know, when you paint outside, you always run the risk of having trash or debris or something like that get into your paint job. So these are the tank pads that I decided to go with for this bike. After I did the tank, I wasn't trying to do a lot of work, so I just wanted to go ahead and paint the tank. The bike had a little bit of white in it already, so this was the final result of the tank after I painted it. So I thought. So guys, the reason I thought I was done painting but actually wasn't, the white did not match the other white the way that I thought. I don't know if it was from the pearl that I added or what. So I went to the paint shop, told the guy, give me the whitest paint you have, and this is what he gave me. When I do use my paint gun and the compressor, HVLP gun, I tend to use Shopline. It's a, cheaper paint. It's made by PP1. This is my new front wheel hugger that just came in. Why did I have to replace the wheel hugger? This is the old one. That crack right there, that started off as a crack. I noticed it, I touched it, and the piece just fell off. Have no idea what was keeping it on other than hopes and prayers. But yeah, I touched that thing and it just fell off. So probably going to paint that new front hugger white as well. And this is a result of painting outside, especially at nighttime. When you spray clear coat, for some reason bugs absolutely love it. So back to those powder coated parts that I had showed you guys earlier. We got them back. It came out perfect, absolutely flawless. Now the thing about powder coat, guys, that you have to remember, if you don't plug off your hose, or if your powder coater is not accustomed to painting motorcycle parts, let them know to plug off your hose. Otherwise, you get that powder coat in some of these holes, and it makes work a lot harder for you. So just keep stuff like that in mind, because if they're used to doing car parts or just random parts, they're not going to know. So you have to let them know, circle it in a picture or something. Water powder coated wheels, got a little rim strip action. I really do feel like rim strips kind of make motorcycle wheels pop. Now with that Rumblebee bike, I did not do rim strips. I actually did tire letters, and I absolutely loved the way that it looked. But because this video was prior to that Rumblebee video, I hadn't even purchased that bike yet. Actually, the sale of this bike got me the funds to actually purchase not only the Rumblebee bike, but also Ruby, which was my Project R1. And it's gonna be the video that I drop after this one. Going to try to do this video in a two-part series. Like I said, it's something quick. The reason that I'm even having to do a voiceover for this video is because at the time of making it, I really wasn't even thinking about doing a YouTube video for it. And then almost as soon as I started taking the parts off of the bike for powder coat, if you notice when I did that walk around in the very beginning, that's when I actually started to record the video for YouTube. I did talk during the video originally, but I kind of figured I wasn't going to use that audio, and I was going to probably do a voiceover anyhow. So here we are doing the voiceover. So yeah, this is basically the technique that I use when I apply rim strips, and a good way that you can apply these rim strips like nice and even, so when the wheel is moving, it doesn't look like they're wobbling. Have it on a flat surface, have good lighting, and if you notice on the lip of the rim, like where it curves over to where I'm actually applying the rim strips, there'll be a shadow from the light. It's more of a reflection, I guess you could say, but the reflection from the light makes a perfect line and I just use that line as a guide to place the decals. So if you see it right there, that little gloss, it just makes a perfect line that you can use as a guide to lay these rim strips on here, and they won't give you that wobble look effect as the wheel moves in motion. Guys, you don't have to be perfect with this. The thing about us being human beings is our eyes believe what we see. So the spacing on these things are not perfect, but when you're looking at it, your eyes are going to tell you that it's pretty good, even though they're not most of the time. So I don't even stress spending a lot of time trying to get the spacing on these things exactly perfect. If you get it close enough, trust me, close enough works. And sometimes you have to leave good enough alone. So what I'm doing here is I'm basically cutting slits in between each letter for the lip decals, because once even though these things are kind of curved in shape as they are made, when you put them on, you still kind of have to shape them a little bit to contour to the shape of the wheel. And again, I use the same technique. I use the light as a guide. And when you put these on, you want to start in the middle. When you press it down, start in the middle and then work your way out. Because if you start on the outside and you work your way in, it's going to create spaces and bubbles that are going to be pretty difficult to get rid of. And having an X-Acto knife for this part also helps, because sometimes you will have to go in and this part that I'm pulling off, it helps to be able to cut that part a little bit so that you can shape these wheels a little bit better to how you want them to fit. And there again, you see that reflection that I was telling you I use for a guide right under the letters. And that's pretty much, how I do my wheel decals, man. So hope that little tidbit helped. Also, when you get your wheels powder coated, plug off that axle hole, like leave a bearing inside of it. These are the brake calipers. I decided to go ahead and do a little something to the brake calipers. The original idea was just to highlight the word Brembo. So I'm using 120 grit sandpaper right now. Just to scuff up the surface, clean it off a little bit. And I just came back with alcohol on a cotton swab. And now I'm just using a paint pen. And these things are really, really, really handy when it comes to doing like small detail work. I picked this one up at a little local art supply spot. I think they sell them at Hobby Lobby too, pretty sure. So start off by doing it white. And then the white just kind of worked as a primer for me. Then I just came back with, if I'm not mistaken, this is just acrylic paint, a red acrylic paint. Do one coat. Also, guys, in a lot of these earlier videos, yes, I chew gum in these videos. I deal with tinnitus, just something I've been dealing with from the military, so gum helps me with that. So after I put that first coat of red on, came back with another coat of red, and you just by the time you finish doing all of these letters, this paint usually dries pretty well. If not, just take a heat gun, blow dryer, or something like that, and lightly go over it, and it'll help it dry a little bit quicker. And then you just come back with another coat until you get it to the color level that satisfies you. So I did all that work for nothing, because afterwards I applied a coating on the top of this that kind of dries like a clear coat, and it's supposed to be a protector, but I tested it with brake fluid and it didn't work very well. So I stripped it all off and decided to do the whole caliper. In order to do the whole caliper, I basically have to strip the entire caliper. Didn't feel like sanding the whole caliper because I have to do more than one. I'm also doing the rear brake. So what I did, I used this, which is basically a rust dissolver. It's supposed to pretty much break down and remove rust. So I just sprayed that on the caliper, and what it did was did the same thing to that clear coating that protects the calipers. The proper way to do this is the pucks on the inside of these calipers. You're supposed to remove those, and they have like a little rubber seal inside of them. I didn't want to go through all that. It was too much work for me to do. This is just a quick flip. So I mean, I'm already painting the caliper, and that's a lot of extra work that I didn't plan on doing. So you can look at these calipers and you can tell kind of like where that rust dissolver has removed the surface and where it has not by the different colors. The shinier part versus the dull part, as you can see here. Let me see the light. Yep. See there? You can see what has been removed and what hasn't been removed. So I just decided to use that rust dissolver, and I got an old paintbrush that I had, and just basically, I'm doing it off camera, but I basically brushed it over the whole thing. And the paint that I decided to use, I went to AutoZone. This is caliper paint. It's supposedly made to paint your brake calipers. It's made for cars or whatever. But I decided to give it a shot. So this is how I decided to prep the calipers for paint. Nothing flashy, just use some bubble wrap, taped it in, protected the nipples so that paint wouldn't get inside those pucks and likely cause braking issues later. So that's all I did for that. So I decided to change the color on some of these fairings to match. What I did not realize was the factory color has this blue tint to it. I don't know how well you can see it. Let me turn it. It has this blue tint, and I just can't match it. Not with the stuff that I have currently on hand. I have tried a few different times. I've tried a few different ways. And not only that, the biggest headache that I have had is this. For some reason, I don't know how well you can see that, but this thing keeps, there was a sticker here. I removed the sticker, sanded behind the sticker, and the sticker still showed up through the paint. Yesterday I decided to just sand it all the way down, you know, and now when I paint it, yeah, there we are. So I'm tired of dealing with this thing. Plus it had a huge reaction. I don't know what caused that, but there we are. So I think I'm gonna just do this thing black, man. I'm tired of dealing with it. Since I'm here, figured I'd take this opportunity to show you all how to remove these decals, factory decals that are not clear coated over the top. Now, I already removed the Suzuki logo from this one. So after I did that, I just said, you know what? Maybe there's somebody that still, you know, struggles with doing this, because I know when I first started doing it, man, decals, let me tell you,
Hopefully these things have gotten better over the years, because it's been a while since I've pulled out decals. I usually just sand them down and, you know, go from there. But since I'm here already, man, I think I'm gonna just go ahead and change the color of the logos. I'm gonna remove this one, the Suzuki, probably turn it red or red and black. I don't know. I really did not want to mess with this one. I may still not, because my plan is to just cut a red Gixxer logo, especially this part, and then maybe have this like a gray. I don't know, but that's what I want to do with this.
So this is how the levers turned out, and that VHT caliper paint sucked, by the way, so I just used the Rust-Oleum paint for the calipers, same paint I used for the levers. So it was averaging 97 degrees outside when I shot this video, so I took these calipers and hung them inside a vehicle that's not running outside, close the doors, basically creating a hot box and helping to cure the paint so that it's stronger, and also protecting these parts from being kicked over or anything like that while I'm working around in the garage. So I think I'll end this video here, guys, and when we pick back up on the next one, I will show you guys how to remove these decals, and we will also be painting the Suzuki white to match the pearl white that I'm doing. So till the next time, guys, be safe out there, believe in yourself because no one else will, invest in yourself. Catch you on the next one.